Hi, my name's Rebecca, and I'm here to teach you all the things that you never learned in your piano lessons growing up. Piano improvisation is one of the things that I love because you don't have to necessarily know how to read music, but you can still create really great tunes on the piano and make it sound like you're a pro. However, one of the biggest pitfalls of learning to improvise on the piano is learning to independently do things with your left and your right hand. So if you want your left hand to be doing chords and your right hand to be doing melody, and then adding some other notes in there to create the chords, they're doing two different things. And it essentially becomes like someone who's patting their head and rubbing their belly, which I can't even do. So it's hard to be able to coordinate your two hands at the same time. It is something that can be worked on, however, and I'm here to give you a couple of exercises so that your hands learn to work independently, going both parallel direction and separate directions at the same time. So with these easy exercises, you'll be able to quickly improvise and sound like a pro in no time. Make sure to check out, linked below, my other video if you are really struggling to have independence of your fingers. There are a few exercises that I give to my beginning students to work on the dexterity of the individual fingers, which must come first before your hands are able to do separate things. So check that out. Also, if you're interested in learning about the different keys on the piano, I'm going to be talking about 5 different keys today: C major, G major, D major, A major, and E major. We're going to start with these 5 because the scales are the same finger patterns for all of them. But if you're interested in learning about how to play in those keys and all of the other keys on the keyboard, make sure to check out my series on the circle of fifths. So come over to the piano and I'll show you some really great exercises that are going to up your game pretty quickly.
When we're improvising, usually the right hand is what does the melody and maybe adds some different notes to fill in some chords, and your left hand is going to be doing chords. So let's actually start with the right hand. We really want to work on moving our fingers independently, and one of the best ways that I have found to do that is by using scales. Now, when I talk about doing scales, a lot of times people are really intimidated. However, once you understand the fingering for the scales, they're going to be the same for the first 5 keys that I talked about. So we're going to start with the key of C major. C major is between C and C, and it's only white notes. That's why I like to start there. So the fingering that we're going to remember, first of all, we need to know the numbers for our fingers. So this is always number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the C scale is every single note in a row from C to C. So here it is. And then coming back down when you reach the C. But using one finger is fine. However, if we're working on dexterity, we want to use all of our fingers. So the fingering that we're going to use is 1, 2, 3, under, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So we do 1, 2, and 3 on C, D, and E. And then instead of hitting the F with our 4, we're going to have the thumb come underneath and hit the F and then reposition. And then we reposition like this. And then each finger gets a note. All right, watch that one more time. 1, 2, 3, under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then coming back down, we do it backwards. So we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we cross over with our third finger here to the E. 3, 2, 1. So here's how it looks all together. So first, I just want you to try that over and over again until it becomes easy. Now let's go through the different keys really quickly. If you want more explanation on the circle of fifths, make sure to check out my circle of fifths videos. However, for right now, we're going to count up 5 notes from C, and that will lead us to our next key. So we start on C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leads us to a G. So G is going to be our starting note. We're going to do all the notes from G to G. but there is one black note, which is this one. So we're going to skip the F and play an F sharp. A sharp is a note played that is to the right, one note up, that is the white note. So instead of the F, we hit the F sharp. So here is a G major scale. Here's our F sharp, and then coming back down. So you're going to practice that same fingering pattern for the key of G. Then we're going to go to the key of D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a D. I'll move to this one. So for the key of D, we have an F sharp, like the key of G, but then we have a new one, which is a C sharp. So instead of playing a C, we're going to play a C sharp. All right, so here's this one. So even though we have two sharps and two black notes for this scale, it is still the same fingering pattern. All right, so we go 1, 2, 3, under. F sharp, C sharp, and come back down. Now stick with me, we've got two more, but there's a reason why we're doing all of these. Okay, so from D, let's go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on A. All right, so I'm going to start down here on this A. So for the key of A, we have three sharps. We have the F sharp and the C sharp, like from the D, and then we have a new one, which is G sharp. All right, so instead of the F, the C, and the G, we are playing F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, but the same finger patterns. So from A to A, here we go. C sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A. And then our very last one is 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the key of E. And we have four sharps. We have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, like A. And we add one more, which is D sharp. So it's these two and these two. All right. So here we go. Key of E, same exact finger pattern as well. So to practice this to begin one-handed, we're going to go through all of those keys. The key of C, the key of G, which is with one sharp, key of D, two sharps, key of A, three sharps, and then key of E with four sharps. And now it's time to work on our left hand. So we're going to start in the key of C again, which is all of our white notes between C and C. And what we're doing is we're going to just build chords in the key of C by making a triad. A triad is three notes. We have the root note, which is C, and then we have a third up from there. 1, 2, 3 is E. And then from the C, we have a fifth up from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is G. So our first chord in the key of C is C, E, G. We're going to keep this same pattern, and we're simply building a chord on top of every note in the key of C, in the C scale, like this. Could not be easier. All the way up. And then we end on C. All right, so that was easy, right? The key of C was super simple. But then we go to the key of G. It's still easy, I promise. All right, so from C, we're up to G. All right, so remember our G scale had an F sharp in it. Every time in our chord playing that we get to an F, we need to make sure to remember an F sharp. Everything else is a white key. So we're going to start down here. To do the same thing where we're making triads for every single note in the key of G. Now here comes our next one. Our next one is B, D, and F sharp. Okay. Then we have an F sharp in the middle of this next one. And then we start with an F sharp and end on G. So we're going to go through all of those until that becomes pretty simple. Then we go to the key of D. So remember the key of D had an F sharp and a C sharp in it. All right, so every time we get to a chord that has one of those two notes, we make sure that we play the sharps. All right, so here's the key of D. We have our F sharp in this one. F sharp starts this next one. And of course, you can slow it way down until it becomes something that is a lot easier for you. Then we go to the key of A. The key of A had our three sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. All right, so here are all of the chords in the key of A. And then from the key of A is our last one we're going to do, which is the key of E. So the key of E, we have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. All right, so let's start down here and make it a little bit easier. The key of E major. Here we go. Once you've practiced those chords in your left hand, and of course you can just stick with one key at a time. I was just giving you lots of them so that you have lots to practice. But let's stick with the key of C for right now, and I'm going to show you finally the exercise of putting two hands together. All right? So in your left hand, we're going to be making a chord, and in your right hand, we're going to be doing the scale. Okay, so for the first exercise, we're going to count 4 notes, and then we're going to switch to the next chord as we go up, all right? So for this exercise, I'm going to separate my hands by at least an octave so that I have room and don't run into one another. So 4 notes, and then we switch. It'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? So then if that becomes really, really easy for you, then we're going to move our left hand with every 2 counts, like this. 1, 2, and then we'll switch. Take a deep breath. You can do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then if you get really ambitious and you want to try switching chords every single note, you can do that too, like this. So once you get that down in the key of C, you can try some of the other keys. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but let's just look at our next one, the key of G, of what that would look like. Okay, so I'll start with the 4. Ready? Begin. And then we switch to our 2 beats. Deep breath, begin. And lastly, for our ambitious players, we're going to switch every single note. Deep breath, here we go.
All right, so go ahead and give them a try. Once you become good at these exercises, improvisation is going to become so much easier. If you're struggling to know exactly how to improvise, make sure to check out this video that talks about how to improvise using one of my favorite chord progressions. For now, make sure that you're practicing and let me know how I can help.